Welcome to Unbiased and on the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you so much for joining. We are live, and I want to thank everyone for hopping in here. So what we got going on now today are some new effects submitted by some of the comments I got in my videos. And there's Crystal, one of my contributors. I appreciate all that you've done. Matter of fact, I want to show you the first effect that I want to start with some residue, I guess, because I want to make sure there's more people in here before I go to, let me find it here. Let's see. I wanted to show, I'll start with some of the residue that Crystal sent me because I thought this was absolutely awesome evidence of how things used to be or how a lot of people remember things. Let me pull this over so you can see. There we go. For all the naysayers. Looky here, we have JCPenney. Doesn't have that E in it, and it doesn't look funny to me anymore. So JCPenney, that's one. Look at this one. Shopping guide for JCPenney, a store that doesn't exist and never has existed in this reality, supposedly. Here's one. JCPenney employee. JCPenney. Look at these, all of these. I appreciate this. And she also sent me Home Depot residue. Look at this. No the. Plenty of room for a the, but no the. Just Home Depot, like I remember. And that is awesome. I want to thank Jose for joining in and helping moderate. And Mary Quinn, glad you made it in. All right, Wounded Warrior made it in. That's awesome. I guess I can read that a lot better. Chad, thanks for hopping in here. And let's see, I think that might cover everybody that's here right now. So, well, I got enough of you guys in here to see what you guys think. Do you guys remember the FDR clip where it was right after we got bombed in, let me see, let me pull it up here and then I'll just pause it right at the spot because this came from Tim. I appreciate Tim leaving this. He said he sent it out to a few YouTubers and he has a problem with some of his comments getting deleted. So I thought this one was interesting because this was one that I thought was huge, even though I wasn't even born when this happened. The bombing. Let's see. This was our first attack on American soil in my reality. And I'm going to play a piece of this, and then I'm going to pause it.
Members of the Senate, of the House of Representatives, yesterday, December 7th, 1941.
Does he say a day or a date that will go down in infamy? What do you all remember on this one? Type it in there, it'll be on the screen. Yes, a day. That's what I remember. Like I said, this was before my time, but it was a famous clip. I heard it from time to time in my life. And a day that will live in infamy is what I remember. So see what you guys think, but I'll back it up and play it.
Representatives, yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
Creepy, huh? Now it says a date. I thought that was pretty interesting. Now I've got a couple other comments I wanted to cover that people left in the videos, just to see what you guys think about it, just to start off with here. Okay. One was the Green Man. He left me one about the Marvin Gaye song, Heard It Through the Grapevine. Now, do you guys remember it being, I heard it through the grapevine, how much longer will you be mine? Or not much longer would you be mine? How much longer would you be mine? Or not much longer would you be mine? Because apparently it is now not much longer would you be mine, which I remember it the other way, as probably many of you do, but that was pretty strange. Another that I checked, that's why I was so late getting on here, because yeah, Mary Quinn, that's how I felt too. I was like, what the heck? It's, gosh, it's just so strange that something so long ago can be changed, that I heard so many times. A date that will live in infamy. And it still makes sense, but I remember it being day. So, yeah, so the Marvin Gaye one, I don't know if that affects you guys. That's kind of an older song, but I remember it being in those commercials in the 80s, so popular. So another one I wanted to bring up was, this was one I listened to right before I started the broadcast. I was like, I just couldn't believe it, because I'm listening to it, and it's the Joe Cocker song, With a Little Help from My Friends. And even the title still said Friends, but it says Friend now. And he actually says it's the Beatles one here. Let's see. Beatles now sung as Friend. An original recording. Penny Lane, Penny Lane. Okay, that's a different one. Okay, so when I listened to the Joe Cocker version, which is the one I was most familiar with, he doesn't really, he leaves it to the background singers, but they're all singing Friend, with a little help from my friend. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Friend? Wow. He does say it, I noticed towards the end, unless I just missed it, I was trying to hurry because I needed to start the broadcast, but I heard him say Friend towards the end, when he just kind of does his sort of singing ad-lib thing in there. He just said Friend. And wow, because I remember it being Friends. Do you guys remember it being Friends? So that was another one. He mentioned one by Penny Lane that I'm not familiar with. Penny Lane is in my ear and in my eye, not in my ears and eyes. So I'm not even really sure I'm even reading that one right. But definitely, gosh, because they're so old. And for a lot of you guys, I'll mention these other ones just so you can check them out if you'd like. From Ian Fear 63, who left a comment. He found some more here. That this is the song instead of this is your song. Elton John. She loved you instead of she loves you. In the song of the same name, Beatles. To get you money to buy you thing, not things. Hard Day's Night, Beatles. In all cases, the lyrics have stayed the same, and the original artists still sing it that way, as do all the third-party recordings and tribute bands. So that's one that you guys might want to look into. So my hearts and prayers go out to those affected by these hurricanes. Gosh, it's just been so devastating. And I know I was supposed to have Joseph Reyna on, and I actually had him. I asked him. I sent him because somebody asked me, "When are you going to have Joseph Reyna on?" So I said, "Hey, people are asking about you." And of course, he's in Texas, so of course they're still reeling from Harvey down there, going through all that mess, and he didn't know when he was going to have the equipment available to do anything. So he had mentioned when I talked to him before that he had information. I'm like, well, what information do you actually have that maybe I can just share the information for now, and then whenever you do have time to come on, then that'd be great. So from Joseph Reyna, he says, it appears Planet X will appear in November, according to several sources, and a pole shift occurs in December. Also, after these hurricanes, there will be several major earthquakes across the U.S., most likely triggered by the eclipse. And that actually is in alignment with what I heard with Matthew LaCroix. I think the last time I heard him mention it, I think he said he thought it was going to be November, somewhere in there. So that kind of leaves us up in the air with this whole September 23rd date that comes up, because I hear people saying that, hey, this alignment's happened tons of times before, but they kind of overlook the point that there's supposed to be the sun getting blacked out by something. Now, I thought it would be Planet X, but if Planet X doesn't show up till November, then September 23rd, if something doesn't block out the sun, it wouldn't be a fulfillment in prophecy. So we need that element for it to be a fulfillment in prophecy, although all the other things are lining up, even, Jupiter appearing to be in the belly for 9 months, all that's extraordinary. And I can't say whether that part of it's happened before, but somebody's saying, yay, earthquakes. Yeah, and I'm not bringing this out to scare anybody, but rather to just expect it. I mean, if it comes, just know that it's all part of what's supposed to happen, and don't fear it. Don't resonate in fear. Just know things are happening as they're supposed to. And one of the things that really impressed me was Jacob Israel's last broadcast about the hurricanes. I don't know if you guys saw that one, but actually I got a link to it, but I've got some screenshots here, because he took the names and the locations where they hit and came up with something that I thought was pretty impressive. Does it really mean anything? I don't know, but I don't really believe in coincidences, and it would be a pretty wild coincidence. So, as it relates to the hurricanes, the first one, Harvey, means battle ready, right? I guess it touched down in Corpus Christi, which means body of Christ. The body of Christ must prepare for battle. And who is the body of Christ? Is this really, I don't really know, because I see it as, so many people came out when Katrina hit saying that, it was God's wrath upon, was it New Orleans, and said they were supposed to be, I don't know, just living in sin, and it reached a level that God didn't like it anymore, and so he attacked them. But now it hits Corpus Christi, and all these people are sort of silent about it, because, technically that means body of Christ. So does that mean the real Christ conscious people? Does that mean the church? I don't really know. You guys can speculate as you want on that part of it, but I just thought all of this together was pretty interesting. So then the next one, Irma, means war. Miami, where it hit, means downstream people. So now we got the body of Christ must prepare for battle, because war is coming to the people downstream. So then it goes on. Of course, we don't know where Jose is going to hit yet, so we're missing that element of it. But Jose means that God may give increase. So now we got the body of Christ must prepare for battle because war is coming to the people downstream, so God may give an increase. So the last one is Katia, or Katia. I'm not sure how that's pronounced properly, but it means pure. So that adds and make the people pure at the end of it. So the body of Christ must prepare for battle because war is coming to the people downstream, so God may give an increase and make the people pure. So it's strange because, you know, so much looks like this might be manufactured, but on the other hand, who's to say that if there is some sort of higher power that he can't turn what, you know, when I was growing up in church, they said what the devil means for evil, God can turn to good. And maybe this is not much different than the Mandela Effect itself. It's just a wake-up call. It's to shake people up. It's to wake them up. And not that my hearts and prayers don't go out to people affected by this, but some people need a wake-up call, and evidently the Mandela Effect isn't working for a lot of people. So then on top of that, a lot of news I noticed isn't getting reported, which is, it's mind-blowing to me, because even after I found this out, I tried to look it up to find out some information on it. And I could look things up individually, but I couldn't really find where it's all talking about this all in one place, and that would be wildfires. This also came from Joseph Reyna, who got me hip on all this going on. But did you know California's on fire, Oregon, the Republic of Russia, Serbia, Montana, Nova Scotia, Greece, British Columbia is on fire, Alberta, Brazil, Portugal, Algeria, Greenland. I mean, oh my goodness. And I don't know if you guys noticed, and I meant to cue this up because it was pretty spectacular. I know you guys probably heard about the solar flares, but we just had one that, you know, that sunspot's facing away from us now. And it was one of those big planet killer eruptions. So we just dodged the bullet. I mean, we got lucky on this one, because if it had been facing towards us, it could have sent us back to the dark ages, knocking out power grids and satellite communication, and it could have been really bad. But, you know, it's so amazing because when you look at the force of it, it's just so tremendous. Even the satellites that weren't on the side, that were, you know, on the back side of it, you can see all of the static and stuff on the screen. And when you see the wave of it, it's just missing the Earth. I mean, it might sort of brush against it a little bit, but I mean, we just missed this tremendous solar flare that was just huge, absolutely huge. I've never seen one like that since I've been looking at the sun. So I was pretty impressed by the size and scale of it, because it was absolutely amazing to watch. And it looked like a snowstorm on their equipment, and you can see the wave move across the whole sun. I wish I had queued that up, but yeah, that was pretty cool. So Kelly sent me a cool, I want to show you guys this because this is more residue here. See if I can get this to pull up. It's not cooperating good here. It's not pulling up for me, so I'll have to skip that. Oh, here we go. Check out, let me see if I can zoom in on this too here. Look at this globe right here, and look where North and South America is. That's absolutely amazing. I mean, this is how most people remember it. They remember, and you can only see the top of North America or South America, but you can see that it's right under North America, like so many people remember it. And let's see if I can. I even brought up Google Earth to show you the difference. And I tried to line it up. You can either look at, let me pull this over. You can see the little globe in the corner. Yeah. I can make that bigger there. Yeah. Trying to line it up over there. Not giving much luck, but yeah, if you look at the globe here in the corner, you can see how it's way over to the right compared to the coin. And this comes from the, I think they call it the Ike silver dollar, IKE. But right here, you can see this is way different looking than when you look at the, look at how much different this is. You can see Florida is actually pointed right at the center of South America on this one. But when you go to the actual coin, South America is just pointed out to the islands and then nothing. Just really right between, just out into the water. And that's a huge difference when you compare them because, I mean, just look at that. That's wild. Clearly, it's moved around. And even if you take in the fact that this is rounded and maybe it's skewed a little bit, even though it looks like on the coin they meant for it to sort of have that globe and rounded look too, it's certainly not all the way over here like it is on the on this map. So thank you, Kelly, for sending that over. And between Kelly and Crystal, we got ourselves a little team of people that are helping keep me busy and disseminate this information to you guys because it's so much stuff and that's so little. I'm surprised that you noticed it, but it's amazing how much is out there if you can find it. And it's all, it just validates the fact that we know things are not as they used to be. So on top of the, you know, we got the wildfires, we got the hurricanes, and there's been a number of earthquakes as well. And this can all be initiated by the solar storms that we're having. So if you get some tremors in your area, you know, just don't worry. Everything is happening right on schedule. And it's just, I think it's just a wake-up call, just like the Mandela Effect. It's to wake people up, shake people up that, hey, there's something more going on in life than, you know, the daily grind of going to work. And so, yeah, just be encouraged with that. This is at some point, if something happens and knocks out the power grid, I got to thinking about that last night. If one of these solar flares knocks out our power, the thing I would want to be able to, the message I'd want to be able to tell you guys is, you know, don't fear what's coming. Everything's happening for a reason. And there's a higher power that loves us, that's in control, and nothing's going to slip by them. Even if the leader up to something, it's not going to prevail. So be encouraged with that. And that's why I thought that that message about the hurricanes from Jacob Israel was so powerful and so encouraging. Let me go to the chat here and see if I've missed anything, you guys. So many people in here. So glad you guys decided to join us. And just to let you know, stick around after the broadcast. We'll usually chat for a while, and it's a fun time doing that. So, oh, thank you, Mary Quinn. I love you guys too. You guys are awesome. And I see this as all being this sort of gathering, you know what I mean? Just to bring us all together. Because for many of us, it feels like our own family and friends have abandoned us. And you know, we have each other, and we're truly all part of a bigger family, even if our own family don't see that. So I am blessed to have you guys, and I'm so glad that you know, we have this time together. So let's see. Yeah, Australia is alien to me, Pilgrim 71 says. And I don't know if you guys, some of you guys might have not have seen it, but I had a piece of artwork that I created with the word love on it in like, I don't know, 3 dozen different languages. And I did it back in, I guess, 2011. And when I heard there was changes to geography, I opened it up, and the map that I had used had changed, although my artwork stayed where it was. So I've got this sort of neat overlay, and, you know, I was blown away. And I think it all right, Jenno, got a new subscriber. Welcome aboard. So I think it, for me at least, I mean, I know other people sit and say, oh, you probably faked it. And, you know, I even did a follow-up video you can watch where it shows that if I did fake it, I would have had to have done it back in 2012 when it was posted, because the picture hasn't changed since I created it in 2012. You can look back, you can see the Facebook post that you can go look at the art with. And so I would have had to hack Facebook and make it look like I posted it in 2012. And, you know, I just found out about the Mandela Effect in March of this year. So I would have had to have known about it to fake it way back then. And so I think it serves as hard evidence. I mean, I think it would hold up in the court of law even, because you can tell it wasn't manipulated since way back then. Yet you can see that my artwork doesn't line up with geography anymore. That being said, when you look at it, Australia and New Zealand are in the same general area. Also, South America is way to the right now. Now, I can't say whether that's changed or not, because I just laid the map down and I put the words on there. And if something, if my letters did move with the whole continent, I wouldn't know it for sure. I can't say for sure, but you can look and see what I see, and you can observe the changes. You can see there's, you know, at first I thought it was dozens. Now I feel like it's hundreds more islands than there was before. And I also noticed that there's a row of islands called the Maldives that that's where that huge fox bat is located at, which appears to have always been there. So those islands are new. They weren't on my map. And the fox bats that you find on that island are new. So if you haven't seen that, it's intriguing to at least watch. Even if you're not all that into, into geography, you can at least see where I open the file and things just don't line up anymore. And you can tell that I would have had to just purposefully not line things up way back when I created that art. And I think it serves for me. And in fact, it's that one thing I have along with Rodent's Thinker. And, you know, I've got a number of things now, but it's something I can actually look at, and it's just unexplainable how those things don't line up anymore. That file hadn't even been opened. You know, it was on a hidden layer. I didn't even use the map in the artwork. I only used it as a guide. So no one even knew I had that map in there. So it isn't like someone went into my file and, you know, swapped out the maps or something like that. You can see where letters overlap and things like that. So for me personally, I feel like it's hard evidence, and I am just so happy that I have that as a reassurance. Oh, butterfly effect. Thank you, Deb. I appreciate that. You're awesome. And there's your little happy star dancing around. So I appreciate that. Let's see if I missed anything in the comments here. Thank you, Mary Quinn. I appreciate the encouragement. Oh, Wounded Warrior, you woke up somewhere around the eclipse. Now, you know what's really strange is that I've noticed a lot of people seem to wake up at the solstices, like or the equinox. I woke up right at this equinox, and who was it? Guy Fawkes said he woke up last year around September. So I imagine, and I watched this other video where they said there's a reversal of energy around those times, and I don't know if that has something to do with sort of jarring you out of it, or I really don't know. But I do know that for some strange reason, another thing with the September 23rd date, maybe it's going to be a mass awakening. Maybe a lot of people are going to sort of snap out of it and say, oh my gosh, this really is happening, because that's what happened to me around March, and that's what happened to Guy around September. Is there anyone else that can say that it happened to you around those times? Because, you know, those times are exactly 6 months apart. Those times, I know Salted Cedar's in here. We'll just use the globe model Salted Cedar, okay? No offense or anything to flat earthers. But with the globe model, you've got, and the sun passes over the equator. In September, it passes over the equator to the south. That's why we have, you know, our nights are longer. And then in the spring, when the days become longer, the daylight hours, it's passing over, coming towards the north side. So we do have the sun sort of passing by the equator, and in the globe model, of course. So that's one thing that's happening. Now, of course, if you believe in the flat earth, maybe they have to shift gears with the sun or something and move it differently. Who knows? But I do know there is something that goes on around those times. And I've seen a lot of people wake up around those times. So I think that's amazing that something is going on around those. Let's see, October. Was it the beginning of October for you? Because that would be still kind of close. Because I sort of realized that my birthday's March 30th, and it was about a week before my birthday. I was sort of plunged in the Mandela Effect world, and, you know, everything was so surreal to me. And I'll tell you what, it was, I didn't know what to think at first. I had the craziest ideas going through my head. I thought it was CERN at first, like I've told you guys many times. And it was just, I don't know. It was definitely like I woke up in some kind of sci-fi movie is the best I can describe it. Cheryl Kelly, welcome. Welcome to the group. We're like a big family here. Diane, all the way from England. I'm so glad you joined. I'm so glad I can do these early enough that you can join in. Let's see. Yeah, Tuki, I hope you had a good birthday the other day. Dominic Frost, welcome in. Let's see. Did I miss any questions here? Oh, yeah, I'm so glad you found that. Crystal's mentioning the JCPenney residue. Yeah, even though you know, it just helps to find residue just to know you're not crazy. Or, you know, makes you realize that, hey, this isn't just all happening in my head. Because sometimes you think, man, were all these memories? You know, I knew something was going on, but I wasn't sure somebody didn't come and plant some memories in my head either. Although I had some specific memories, I couldn't be sure that someone that just didn't plant them in my head somehow or something strange like that. So it's good to stay on the fence about stuff, but I knew something was happening. I just wasn't sure what. But when you come across residue, that helps put your mind at ease that, you know, this isn't just all in my head. Someone didn't just plant a memory in my head, because there wouldn't be residue, especially some that's so old. Same way with that file I had. Somebody wouldn't have planted memories in my head about geography and then been able to go and change that map. they would have gave up. It was just way, way too hard. Let's see. Yeah, and somebody's mentioning timelines. Timelines, you know, timelines I wouldn't rule out unless they're the things we think of as the Mandela Effect are multiple causes. Some things just don't seem to work out with timelines, but some things would work out with timelines. So if we start categorizing things that we consider the Mandela Effect, and then we start realizing that, oh wait, these aren't all caused by the same thing. They just seem like it because they go into the impossible category of things. Then yeah, maybe timelines is possible. And I know some people think there's a meshing of timelines, but like I mentioned before, if you sort of think if you were on this timeline and then you switch to a different timeline, there wouldn't be residue because the proof that things were one way would still be in the other timeline. So I think at least anytime you see residue, there's not I don't believe so. Time is speeding up. Yes, I've definitely noticed time speeding up myself. I mean, even when I look at the clock, the yeah, days seem faster, shorter. Even looking at the seconds, they seem to change a lot faster. It's really amazing. I mean, and who can alter that? I mean, that might be a good way to present to someone, because, you know, maybe people notice time is speeding up. And here's the thing. I did a video a while back, and I was even talking to Vanessa VA about this because she's done a lot of research. If you haven't been to her channel, check out her channel. It's a pretty cool channel. Vanessa VA. Well, we were talking about how everything is connected to time, right? So when you say something is so many hertz, like the Schumann resonance, right? When you're saying it's 7.8 hertz, you're saying there's 7.8 cycles per second, right? But if the second changes and the second is faster, then the 7.8 hertz wouldn't have to change, if that makes sense to you guys. It could actually, the frequency could be increasing from what it was before, but the 7.8 hertz not change if time itself was speeding up. So if seconds are getting shorter, then that would cause frequencies to just by default naturally appear to be staying at the same frequency. I hope that makes sense to you guys, because it seems kind of confusing, but we use time because it's supposed to be a constant. It's supposed to not change. You should, a second is a second. But if a second suddenly goes by a little bit faster, everything in relationship to that second would also either look like it's slowing down, or if it looked like it stayed the same, it would be increasing with the second. So I thought, I thought of that when I was commenting with Vanessa VA, because she did some research about the Schumann, and I did that video about the Schumann resonance. And it just got me thinking, like, wow, everything is sort of compared to time, but if time itself is changing, then, it's all out the window. We can't really say what's happening at that point. So food for thought. It's interesting stuff. It's once you can get beyond the freaking out about it and stuff, it's really a fun effect to, try to dissect. And I think looking at the changes are fun, but I also think looking beyond the changes and seeing what they really mean is the important part of this. Because if you get stuck on the changes and the changes are meant as a wake-up call, then what are you waking up to? You're just waking up to the alarm, and you're like looking at the alarm. You're like, it's ringing. So you got to look at, why am I being woke up, basically. And had tons of fun with Deb from Butterfly Effect the other day. Definitely want to have her on real soon. In fact, doing like, I don't know, a weekly thing. I should have talked to her first about this, but I think it would be cool to do something a lot more often, and something that people could expect. on a more regular basis. Same way with Andrew. I had a blast with him on. And I'm actually trying to get on Aurora from the Flying Rainbow Lasagna channel. Now that sounds off the wall and bizarre to a lot of you guys, but look into it. It's pretty interesting stuff. She explains how we can rewrite our DNA. We can undo the damage that was caused to our DNA, 15,000 years ago with the Flying Rainbow Lasagna. And it's just wild because I've seen different things on about 3 different channels now. One Harmony was another one, and they all look like the same diagram. And it might sound nutty to a lot of people, but when you see these comparisons, this one person has a vision, Aurora from the Flying Rainbow Lasagna channel. Now she says she's a walk-in. I don't know if anybody that's listening to Dolores Cannon knows what a walk-in is. That's basically someone at some point had a near-death experience, and when they were brought back to life, someone else took over their body. They didn't take over their own body. Now I know this is getting way out there in fringe territory for a lot of people, but that's what she claims. And I don't even know. I haven't heard her mention the Law of One. I've heard her talk about stuff that was Mandela Effect related, like people were talking about the North Pole didn't have the ice cap, and I've heard her comment. Jamie had sent me a clip, matter of fact, or a link to the video where she mentioned that. She didn't specifically mention Mandela Effect, but a lot of her viewers were talking about things like that. So this is all connected. So I'd like to get her on, ask her how, if she, has any comments about the Mandela Effect, ask her what she says about the Law of One, because a lot of the stuff she says goes right along with the Law of One as well. So I'm really interested to hear what she has to say. She just contacted me. She's been moving, so she's been busy. So she just contacted me right before the broadcast, sent me a message, and she's supposed to come on with us. So I'm excited to maybe have her on. And these are all things to be excited about, look forward to. And so make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you click the little bell. And I just had a recommendation to just do a quick video, like right before, maybe an hour or 2 before I go on, and just to send out a notification that way in case some of you guys didn't get the email or you don't check Twitter. I can still do Twitter because it's pretty quick. Doing the video ahead of time takes a little bit longer, so I haven't done that. But that might be a better way to go about doing it. If people click the bell, then they can know, oh, he's going on in an hour or 2, and know that I'm probably going to be 15, 20 minutes late as I was the last 2 times. But it's just how it works. I've never been a very punctual person. Unfortunately, it's my downfall. I got to work on it. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys with this broadcast, but stick around in the comments because I like to chat with you guys. I like the real-time interaction, and I do enjoy the comments too, so leave comments if you're watching this later on. But thank you to everybody that's been sending me residue. I think it's a big help because it's hard to cover everything. So when you guys do that, you take care of a lot of the work. And if you do have any residue, you can send it to shanecrob@gmail.com, and I will get it there. So I do appreciate you guys hopping in here, and I will see you on the next broadcast. I love you guys. Love and light, and have a good one.